Who all's around tonight? So tonight I thought I would do a little like a sketchbook tour. I wrapped up drawing penciling an issue of Lonesome Hunters today. And so I feel like taking a break from drawing for the evening. So I went and I dug up two sketchbooks that are sort of like important to me that I like a lot. Where I was doing some weird stuff, and I thought I would share that tonight. So like these are from, I think this one is like 20 or 2009 or something, and this guy's from 2010 apparently. It says on the, can I get it to focus? On the spine. It says it's from 2010, December 9th. So yeah. So these are like moleskin books, and they're I kind of hate them nowadays, but at the time they were kind of the best sketchbook you could get at this size, and with like a nice cover, and that would lay flat. That was kind of hard to find in 2009. But this was before, this might have started in like 2007 or 2008 even. I don't even know. But this was like before I was making comics for a living. This is when I was making video games. And I can definitely, looking through this, I can feel that those feelings where I was like so sick of making video games and was ready to do something else, and was putting a lot of energy into these sketchbooks. My sketchbooks don't look like this really anymore. These were largely inspired by the Chris Ware sketchbooks. I saw those and was like, that's how I want to do sketchbooks from now on. This is a very good gag. The mom is saying, "Who made this mess?" And the kid is saying, "Fuck you," because there's this ghost named Fuck You behind him. And this is like a Family Circus gag, only instead of "fuck you," usually it would say "not me" on the ghost. So I'll just explain my joke really well to you. Hey Mark, how you doing, man? And I drew a lot of these bumblebee dudes with their heads chopped off. I should maybe I should give a content warning. There's a lot of F words in these sketchbooks, and there's a couple nudies. Just be aware. If you don't like either of those things, you might not watch. So I was doing this is watercolor stuff, and it really doesn't work well in these moleskin sketchbooks. But I like all these no's. I was doing a lot of text stuff in these because I was thinking really hard about comics, really. So I was spending a lot of time working on lettering stuff. I'm doing a lot of watercolor stuff. It's amazing how much watercolor work I put into these terrible sketchbooks. I like the rendering on this guy. I like his little tiny dash marks. I think those are pretty fun. More little tiny dash marks. There's a lot of these little comics in here that are just made up as I went along. I like this little rabbit dude a lot. That's fun. I think I was mostly using a brush pen for a lot of this stuff, like a pit brush, the kind that's like a felt tip, but shaped like a brush. Here's a very old portrait of Maat. There's a lot of these sort of really bad drawings like this in here too. But I was doing a lot of like so this was like these are probably they're brush pens, but what are they called? I do not have any anymore. Um, but you can get them in different colors. So like there's a red one. And there's a bunch of pictures of Metatron here. Here was my dog at the time. He is a good buddy. There's him chewing on his Kong. Some colored pencil stuff. More of these little bee dudes. Yeah, thanks, Mike. We were very happy when we found that name. He was the sweetest dog in the whole world, and it was very silly to give him a name like Metatron, but it felt right for him. He was actually the first dog I ever had, really. And yeah, like these drawings are like not good, but I can feel like myself almost finding how to draw. I made noses way too big for a long time. I still kind of struggle with making big noses. It is a quiet night in the stream tonight. Some more watercolor stuff. Some conjoined twins. Brothers forever. These were sketches. I couldn't really figure out when the sketchbook was made until I saw these pages, because these were when I went to Game Connection in France and had a lot of downtime and was sort of doodling people like that. That I distinctly remember drawing while I was waiting for a meeting to start. And this Batman's inspired by Tony Millionaire for sure. Which is funny. I don't remember like really being into that guy, but for some reason I was copying a Batman. And that's a pretty good portrait of Metatron. Yeah, I wonder what's going on tonight. I wonder where everyone's at. Maybe they saw that I was going to be talking about my sketchbooks and were like, no way. And this is a beautiful spread. I really like this one. Hey, Pippi. How you doing tonight? Some nice lettering. I like this stuff. I'm doing good. I was telling Mark earlier, I've just wrapped up penciling an issue of The Lonesome Hunters tonight, so I decided to take the night off from drawing and just flip through these guys. These are some sketchbooks from way back in, I think this one is 2008 or 2009. And this has got to be a copy from a photo or from a painting. I do not know, though. But that's one of my favorite drawings in this book. I think that's pretty. Thanks, Mark. One of these days I'm going to get brave enough to hand letter a book. I would really love to do that. But as it is, I have to edit my lettering so much that it would be kind of a nightmare. Here's where you can really see that, I was looking at a lot of Chris Ware at the time. These 2 pages are definitely Chris Ware inspired, and I think Ma wrote that. Oh, nice, Stacy, thanks. Did you read it already? This is some acrylic paint stuff. These pages are feel awesome because 'cause they're all, like, super rubbery from having just be covered in acrylic. And I was doing a lot of, like, this mixed media stuff in here where it's, like, acrylic, and then I went back over it with a micron. See if you can see that. Makes some interesting effects. No problem being a trade waiter, though. As long as you don't wait till the book gets canceled. Some more acrylic stuff. More of my big noses. Yeah, I think if people like Harrow County, they'll like The Lonesome Hunters. At least I hope they will. I think they're definitely different books, like different kinds of books, but they have like a vibe. I like all these little vampires. I wonder what they're doing. Nice. Stacey, only report back if you like it though. Here's some more acrylic stuff. These dudes up here are pretty cool. And I think I was trying to go over the top of acrylic with oh man, what was this ink called? This used to be my favorite ink. It was like called Super Black or something, but it was very glossy. It was very thick and creamy, but glossy. And I tried using it over acrylic a lot to mixed results. Like this one, you can see like it did not adhere at all and just totally smudged. Some ballpoint pen sketching. I do not know where this was. It must have been in San Diego when I was taking the train a lot because I have some train schedule stuff up here, which is interesting. I say train, but I mean like the metro or whatever. Oh my gosh, Mark. That's a that's I appreciate the support, but that's ridiculous. Yeah, I got high hopes that we'll get a library edition for the Lonesome Hunters. But we'll have to see. They still need to sell. Like I need to finish the second story arc, and then that second trade needs to sell, and all that stuff. This tiger ended up kind of being my logo later, although like a much better version of it. my logo like that guy. Some tiger robot stuff. More of these little bee dudes. I had like a bunch of them. I had this guy that I sort of thought of as a strongman bee, and he wore these overalls. And then there's kind of a dorky bee that wore these like high waist jeans. This is kind of fun. A bunch of eyes, noses, and mouths in a row like that. I think this is definitely on the train. So like at this point, I definitely had not, um, I don't think I even had like a comics portfolio at this time. I think I was just sort of thinking it a lot and wishing I was not making video games anymore. Like these definitely look like train sketches. And my little bumblebee head dude. Robo racing. I have no idea what that was. Some more like acrylic stuff. Dragon looks nice. Thanks, Pippi. Yeah, I like my tiger stamp a lot too. This was inspired actually by I think it was because I saw Paul Pope had his little Japanese signature stamp thing, and I really, really wanted one of those, but I do not know any Japanese, and I don't have any connection to the Japanese culture or whatever, so I made like a my own version of it. Hey, Morgan. Yeah, doing a sketchbook tour. These are old ones. These are this one's 2008 or 2009, I think. I do not know what this guy's talking about. Don't ever get a best friend. They'll steal your sweetie away from you. That's a lie. I don't know. And I think I was drawing, I don't know what I was doing with this armor guy, like this guy. I don't know what the thought was with that. Yeah, this was the only other thing really worth of note of this sketchbook. This one of those stamps where when you stamp it, it progresses to the next number. So for a little while, I was numbering all the pages in my sketchbook with those. It's pretty fun. Again, that's like totally swiped from Chris Ware. I think he was doing that in his sketchbooks. Yeah, so that's that guy. Like I have not ever really kept a diary, but my sketchbooks like they don't really work like a diary, but they definitely when I look through them sort of transport me back to that time. Oh, well, I'm glad you took a break, Morgan. So this one I started while I was working on Petrograd. So this was after I got my first comic book job. Trying to figure out how to center it. And honestly, I don't know how I had the time to work on a sketchbook like this while I was while I was doing those comics because I was working full time making video games and then coming home and making comics nights on weekends. And well, when we get into this book, you'll see it's like kind of an intense sketchbook. This is like a moleskin watercolor sketchbook. And so like here's this really lousy Wolverine, naked Wolverine. Here you can definitely see the influence of Kent Williams and his work. And this is like these pages are all over the place. Like this is watercolor, and this is marker, and this is like highlighter markers, and this is like microns. This is definitely like more Chris Ware inspiration stuff, or Chris Ware inspired. It's more watercolor and ink. Like this stuff is just stupid, but it's pretty fun. This is my George Washington, July 1776. Arr, those British are a real pain in my dick. I ain't gonna pay no taxes. Typical George Washington. So I started work on Petrograd in it came out in 2011. So I must have started it in 2009 or late 2008. So maybe the sketchbook is actually way earlier. Maybe this other one is like 2007 or something. Long time ago, man. Some more watercolor. This is the thing I did a lot to sort of work on my lettering was like I would just take random bits of text that I could see from wherever I was sitting. So I have no idea what this is from. There are varied reactions to the Snowball Queen campaign now getting up steam. I think this is nib on here for this pumpkin man. This guy's cool. Thinking about skulls. So I think to answer your question more, Mark, I think I was keeping up with doing sketchbook stuff at the same time as I was working on Petrograd. Because like you will see there's actually some Petrograd stuff in here when we get to it. So these are like I think this is shit, I can't remember her name right now. I can like man being on stream and trying to remember people's names. The redheaded piano playing lady. Yeah, I know. I got to start dating these. Well, no, I don't even date them now. But I do sort of keep them in order a lot better than I used to. Here's some Alex Toth studies. This one is really funny because it's just like so. It's just so ridiculous, so basic. And like this is an interesting one where it was like a Toth panel, but like you can't. Everything's like so crammed together you can barely tell what's happening at all. Tori Amos, thank you. Yeah, so this is I think this is Tori Amos. But I couldn't tell you for sure. This is not Tori Amos. This is a little E.T. I do not know what inspired me to draw E.T. But like here we go. Here's like the first indication that this was after I started on Petrograd because there's Cleary from that book. Oh, the miller went off to sea, leaving his mill and his wife, and leaving his daughters 3. And on those rolling waves of green, what dirty black deeds were seen. Again, I have no idea what that's from. It's good though. There's some more Metatron. Such a good dog. And some Wolverine. Looking weird. Another giant friggin' nose. I love Tori Amos too. Tell your mom she has great taste. It's like a Gen X thing. This is interesting. Yeah, so like here's some Rasputin too. This is actually oil paint in here, which is sort of a testament to how the watercolor paper is pretty good. And this is, I think this is oil paint too. This might be acrylic, but I'm pretty sure this is oils. Yeah, it's got to be because you can see it like staining through the paper a little bit. Yeah, man, I would love to get back into oil painting, but that's a whole thing. I need to actually have like a separate space so I don't stink up the whole house with it. I love the smell of oil paint, but not everyone in the house agrees. And here's some more like lettering practice. And cowboy. This is probably from a photo, but it doesn't look like a very good copy of a photo. This guy's cool though. And this is also probably got to be from a photo. And these guys are all, I think I drew the grid and then colored it in with highlighters or something and then went through and just ballpoint penned drawings in there. Just random stuff. This is definitely from a photo, but I don't know what. This is interesting because it's Orion, one of the new gods. But like this is like a from like an Avery label, like one of those sheets that's like not split up into individual labels, but it's just like a sticky sheet. And this is funny. So this one actually was like a copy of a Mobius drawing. And there was something there's something I read where he was talking about Blueberry and how he designed that character to be, quote, overflowing with male sexuality. Which is really funny because that's not really how I think of how I think of Blueberry, but that was his intention apparently. Is the chat working? There we go. I lost video. Oh no. On my end, it doesn't look like the stream stopped, although it looks like the chat disconnected and reconnected a couple times. Okay, I'm back. I'm actually streaming from a different computer this time. I have been streaming with my million-year-old laptop, and I finally figured out a way to use my like work computer to stream so I could see it from my desk. So hopefully it's not a problem with my computer now. That would suck. Yeah, this might be like a John DeFool copy. I don't know. I drew his eyes way too close together. This eyeball should be like way over here. This is a very pretty page. These colors are great. Very satisfying. I'm pretty sure this might be like acrylic over watercolor. Like it might have been, or it might have been gouache. No, this is acrylic. The whole thing might be acrylic. I don't even remember. But it's pretty. So is the stream actually working again? Okay. Hey, Tugboat. It's good to see you. And so much of this is just like train of thought. Wait, that's not the term. Just like off the top of my head, put down a bunch of squares of paint and then go back in and make up some comic, not having to make sense out of it. This is actually a pretty good little comic. I was born, I grew into a man. On this hand, I have 4 fingers and a thumb. In my first life, I was an apple, a perfect apple. Yeah, and here's more like Petrograd stuff. So may have been working on this book while Phil was finishing the script for Petrograd. Because we got like the project got approved and we signed the contracts, and then we did a lot of revisions on the script for a while to try to get it before I started drawing it. Um, so I may have done some of this stuff while I was waiting for the script to get completely done. These guys are pretty cool. This is a fun spread too. I like these guys. It's kind of remarkable how symmetrical I got these drawings. It's not like that must have took me for friggin' ever. I don't know what this one is about. Yeah, man, it's just like so much energy went into these sketchbooks. It's kind of shocking to look back on it because my approach to sketchbooking is so different now. But this, like at the time, like this was definitely helped me, where I was just sort of really interested in forcing myself to make things that um, were kind of finished in a way, instead of like I always had a really bad problem of abandoning drawings halfway through, just sort of losing interest and flipping the page and starting a new one. That was a pretty good little comic where the Pope is like, "Holy moly, I gotta get a sandwich," and he ends up eating a baby. It's good stuff. Yeah, and this is kind of well, this one's definitely unfinished. About a guy who got really into rocks and then started doing drugs and then ended up going to raves. I don't know if you can see. He ends up wearing one of those Dr. Seuss hats and a pacifier. Yeah, and this is definitely me, like, studying some Russian history stuff. Little George Washington, a nudie. These guys down here are pretty cool. And this is like, I think I was experimenting with homemade Zipatone, where I got some sticker stuff that I could run through my laser printer and tried making my own. Didn't really work out for me. I don't think it. I feel like it was tacky in a way that made it hard to use. He could do that. He could wear a Dr. Seuss hat. These guys are cool. I do not know if this is. It's got to just be acrylic ink or acrylic paint. This has got to be acrylic paint. It could be oil. This guy might have been inspired by those Pokemon, those little dudes that live in a hole, but with like a terrifying face stuck on. And this is definitely from a photo. And this bear is from a photo. But these are interesting. This is like I cut some stuff out of old comics and put in here. Drew a little duck man in that Jeep. It's a beautiful little Jeep drawing. Or that's probably like an edited photo or whatever. Doing more collages in my sketchbook would be kind of fun, actually. I think Doug Trio is correct, Mark. Another nudie. Some more tigers. I've always liked tigers, so that's what a lot of these guys are. This one's got a really good flow. I like that. Like I think this was from a photo where the tiger was like in a stream and was getting ready to leap out of it. This is good. I think this is like walnut ink, the brown, which is something that I should play around with it a little bit more. It's very pretty. And this is definitely like using a dip brush instead of my brush pen, I think. This is after Wyeth, it says. So this is probably based off of Andrew Wyeth painting. And this is a lovely little colored pencil sketch. I like how that one turned out. I feel like I had to have been looking at a photo for this one, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, oh hey Robo Jim, how you doing, man? That's a great username. Um, yeah, I like it's really satisfying when you can get a pose that sort of indicates the motion before and after it. The Jeff Smith, the guy who draws Bone, I think is really good at that. And I think it comes from his time doing animation. Now, so here's a Rasputin. Not a very good one. Here's that dude from Have Gun Will Travel. No, talk about the ABCs are mostly me trying to learn how to letter. Um, just practicing instead of writing words, trying to draw them, kind of. I was saying earlier, I really would love to hand letter a book one of these days. but, it's gonna take a lot of courage and a lot of time. M Probably the time is the big issue. Tibbs is watching the TV. Yeah, I'm really glad you dropped in, dude. And this is, like, definitely Cleary inspired drawings from Petrograd. So that makes me think that this was, like, while I was waiting for, the script to get finalized, I was working on this. So that's probably how I had time. Here's one that even says Dreary Cleary on it. These ladies are great. Definitely pulled up some photos to work on these 2. And this one's a little bit inspired by, um oh, man. Again, I'm spacing on the name. The, the dude who did Steve Canyon. Little polar bear and some acrylic paint. It's kinda cute. Just some inking practice probably. It's a fun little spread. This is like, Benny Gesserit Dune stuff. I should do maybe next week I'll do a Dune piece. I have not actually drawn a whole lot of Dune art, and I love Dune. This, I think okay, this is interesting. This is a thing I did where, this is from a Hellboy book, The Chapel of Moloch, and I went through and I sort of just recreated every page. And this is something I should actually do some more and, like, make a real point to do a study of this stuff. Because what I was trying to figure out is how Mignola sort of paces his stories and how he works on his composition. So these are, like, basically how all of the panels are laid out. And the way he lays out panels is really it was really peculiar, actually. It's so idiosyncratic. It's like I don't think anybody else does it like him. Some of these, like this page in particular, where the reading order sort of gets real fuzzy right in the middle. And it feels like this one kind of feels a little fuzzy in the middle, as opposed to say like this page where the panel order is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this one where it's like really straightforward. There's some that just feel more sort of muddled, and it's really interesting. I don't know. I think Mignola is one of the best at like laying out a page. Yeah, I should do some more of this to see if I could get my page layouts a little bit tighter. Because I think he like lays out a page in a way that is like it doesn't break any rules without a reason. Like there's a lot of people who lay out pages and they sort of it really just feels like they're sort of showing off and when Mignola does it, I feel like he does it a lot more intentionally. Oh yeah, I forgot she did some like breakdowns of those. I subscribed to Elsa's s- uh her channel, but I don't think she's updated. Like, I don't think she's posted a video in a while. I think they're working on a movie or something now, right? Yeah, I was excited to hear that Manuel's working on something new too. It'll be cool to see what he does. There we go. That's it. That's the end of that sketchbook. These are little moleskins. When I first discovered moleskin sketchbooks, they like really got me excited about drawing in sketchbooks again. Like, this is just such a perfect format for like a sketchbook to carry with you and draw in. And the super thick paper um, at the time was nice. Now I really hate it. Like, you can just see how waxy it kind of was. Like, it doesn't like to, the ink doesn't like to really sit right on it. Like, it sort of sucks in, like it absorbs the ink in some ways and lays on top in other ways. Like, yeah, it's a mess. But yeah, no, this was a really interesting time for my sketchbooking. I was working really, really hard to figure out what I was going to do next and trying to get something different out of my artwork. It's nice. I kind of miss the level of experimentation I did in these. Like, I should sort of make an effort to get back to it. But again, it takes so much time doing a sketchbook like this, especially with like friggin' oil paintings in it and stuff. Like, that's ridiculous. But beautiful. Yeah, so there we go. Well, I think that's it for the night. I hope everybody has a wonderful. Oh man, I don't know if I would sell these. I think that they're like a little too personal for to sell. Like this one, and in fact this one has an outline for a story. I had to tape it off so I didn't accidentally open it up. But it's got an outline for a story that I'm hoping to one day be a good enough writer to pull off. Hey, you're welcome, Stacy. I hope you like Loadsome Hunters. It's definitely a book that I am wringing myself dry on. I'm really proud of the Lonesome Hunter so far, and I hope people like it. All right, everybody. Thanks again for dropping by. I really appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great weekend and have a great next week. And I'm gonna make a note that maybe next week I'll do some Dune stuff. That'll be really fun. All right. Thanks, everybody.